What's up, everybody? It's your boy Smooth, and you're watching Off the Rack, the show where we tap in with all the real tastemakers behind the DMV's fashion and culture. And today, we in Manassas checking out one of the leaders of the Y2K Renaissance. Welcome to Thrift Lords. Let's get into it. All right, everybody, we got the man of the hour here today. You can follow them on IG and all their other social media platforms at Thrift Lords. Toes, my brother, how you doing?
Doing good.
We're just going to jump right in. So the name Thrift Lords feels powerful. When people hear it, a lot of people probably think to themselves, it sounds less like a store and more like a title. What does that name represent to you personally?
For real, so when I first started the store, it was me and my homeboy at the time. And at the time, the album that just dropped was A$AP Ferg's Thrift Lorde.
Okay, deep cut.
Yeah, man. So like, you know, we was like, yo, bro, like, let's just sell like clothes on the gram, But this was way back. This is like 2015. So then it's like, you know, then it wasn't like a thing.
Yeah.
To like
so
sell
would
clothes.
you say you were like a pioneer of that first, like before Depop, before Grailed? Or
honestly, look, dog, if I'm being 100% real, I think for the first maybe year and a half to 2 years, I knew maybe 20 accounts that was like that was posting on IG and selling on IG. Because around that same time, that was when round two was like, I wouldn't say at their peak, but they was getting to like their peak, and their store was super big and like, you know, what's the joint down and like, you know, Richmond. But then but like, you know, back to the name, so like, you know, me and my boy was like, yo, dog, Thrift Lorde, that's some fly shit, nigga. Thrift Lorde, yeah. So then, you know, we was like, yo, fucking Thrift Lorde, nigga. Like, yeah, boom. So then, you know what I'm saying, that's kind of how, like, you know, name, like,
it kind of like,
about.
It became its own, it became a character in itself.
Yeah.
Would you say the store is Thrift Lords, or would you say you're the Thrift Lords?
So, one of the things, especially early on, and I guess this is kind of like, it's kind of related to this, but not really, is like, I like always wanted it to be of like, I want people to know who like, you know, I am and what the store is and what the vibe is.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, this is nothing against nobody else, but, you know, I've always had the mindset like, yo, I'm gonna let folks know this is some black people shit, you know what I'm saying? So that is like, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, yo, I love all like folks, but just the vibe of like, you know.
It's for us, by us.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? How I run the store, what I want to post, what I want people to see. It's kind of like, yo, this is some Thrift Lorde shit, but don't get it mistaken. This is ran, like, I guess in the most not politically correct way. I'm like, man, this is ran by some niggas.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
This
is ran by some niggas, but you know what I'm saying? We just like happen to have fly shit that everybody wants. You know what I mean? So definitely.
So every great curator has a moment when the clothes stop being about wearing them and about studying the history behind them. What would you say was the earliest piece or era that first pulled you into this world?
I wouldn't say there was a specific thing that pulled me, well, like a specific piece that pulled me in, but honestly, what really got me into thrifting was I had to do community service, because then this was way back in the day. This is like 2000, maybe like 12 or 13, and this was when folks was treating like weed like it was coke, you know what I'm saying?
The war on drugs.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, like I forgot the amount I had, like it wasn't nothing like crazy. But then basically there was like, yo, you can do your 60 days of jail 30 hours of community service.
Gladly gonna take it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then I was like, all right, boom. So then, my mom, she would always go like to the thrift and she was like, yo, you should do your community service there. So I went there and they kind of had me taking like the clothes out like the back.
Yeah.
And at that time, I would just go like to the mall. I would go to just like different stores with like friends. But then I saw this. What's it called? Columbia coat, and I think it was like $15. And then it was the exact same coat that I saw in another store, and they had it for like $150. And so then with me, I'm like, yo, like, why is this shit so cheap? So then I bought that coat, and I was there for like 2 weeks doing like all that. But then I bought like the coat, and then after that I was just like, yo, like, they got some fly shit for the low. And then at the time, niggas was really broke, didn't really have bread, so
you gotta make do with what you can.
So then I'm like, shit, dog, I can get fly on fucking
budget,
like $45, nigga, like let's go with it, you know what I mean? So then, you know what I'm saying, that was kind of like my like thing that kind of like pushed me to like, yo, like, let me just thrift more, like, instead of going to the mall or going to this and going to that. So that's funny.
And that leads me to my next question, because a lot of people would see a jacket and think like, oh, that's like a really cool jacket, but you see a cultural artifact in it. So like, would you say that was the moment when you first realized that you had a talent for finding pieces that tell stories, or do you think it was another time?
Okay, so that was the first time that I would just go to the thrift and just really just buy like stuff for like me. And then,
so you would say that was like that expanded your shopping horizon first.
Yeah.
Okay,
So then I guess it was like one of the first early moments. It was, one of our homeboys. This was probably like right before school like started, right?
Yeah.
So then, he was going back to school, and then he went to my like homeboy's crib, and then just bought like a bunch of clothes, right? Probably like I said maybe like $150 worth of clothes. But then at that time, me like, and my homeboy was working at a daycare, making maybe $150 a week. So then
so it seemed like you, I don't mean to cut you off, but it seemed like you had a lot of different like jobs and like journeyman points to you getting here. Yeah, man. So it like, because I did, okay, this kind of off like topic, but we gonna get right back on track, so don't worry. Talk with you. This is your hour.
But like, I do kind of feel one of the reasons that Thrift Lords has the feel that it has, or like the vibe that it has, is like, throughout the years I have refined my taste, learn more about this, learn more about that. But the initial thing was, I just want fly shit. Like, it wasn't like oh, this is the tag from 1992. Oh, this is a Nike tag from 1988. As like time went like by, I was like, okay, let me learn about this. This is a single stitch. This is a double stitch. This makes sense. This doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But then for like the main part, me and my boy was like, yo, we just like fly shit. And then maybe it sounds a little arrogant, but then, our whole business mindset was like, we like fly shit, and we feel we're some cool ass folks, and I feel like folks like to buy for some cool ass folks, so let's do this shit. You know what I mean?
It makes the most sense. Why wouldn't I buy something fly from somebody that got good taste in clothes?
Yeah. So then,
it's foolproof business model, by the way, so can't go wrong with that.
That's facts. So, you know what I'm saying? That was kind of like the main, I guess, what's the word? Inception of things, was just really of like, yo, I think I'm fly and I think I'm pretty cool. Let me just put it out there to the
Yeah.
world and then see what
see what you
yeah. And then as time went by, that's when I learned about, okay, this is 90s, this is 80s, this is single, this is double, but at first it was just like, man, I don't give a fuck if this shit was from 2015 or this shit is from 1995. If it's fly, it's fly, and I'm gonna pick it up. You know what I'm saying? So then I feel that kind of created a vibe of the shop of not just being a strictly, it has to be from 1994, it has to be from Y2K, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So your shop, like you said, is rooted in pieces that have real history. Like I've seen on the page, I've seen Bape, I've seen Sean John, Rockaware, whatever you could get your hands on. Yeah. What is it about that era of time that still resonates today? So resonates with people today in fashion?
I think, that's a good question. I think it was just so fresh and new of especially the late 90s to the early 2000s. It wasn't a changed up version of the mid 90s or a changed up version of the early 90s. It was just something completely new and fresh. So then I feel it was just a time where things were very experimental, very outside the box. You know what I'm saying? Because even now, things are still really dope, but it's a lot of let's reference the past to
it's nostalgia.
To make things of now. But I feel then, especially in the early 2000s and the late 90s, it was, we're doing something completely new. So I feel that's why it kind of had that big I guess nostalgia type of feeling.
So would you say that they started the wheel at first and then we kind of reinvented it in a way? Not reinvented it, but we went back to the drawing board basically.
Yeah, slightly, yeah. I'll say that.
What was the point in time where you realized you had to turn this vision into a real destination?
Honestly, since day one. And I say that it wasn't day one I was I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get the store this year, this is the 3-year plan, this is the 5-year plan. It wasn't none of that. But I don't know where it came from, but I just always just thought this is what I need to do. Because I remember one of my homegirls, this was probably 2 years into running the store, or maybe a year and a half. And I think we had around 10K followers. And then at that time, back in the day, if you have 10K, you was up. It's oh shit, you got 10K, because so this was 2016 or so, before the whole content creator, IG,
before everything kind
influencer,
of really took off.
So then she was yo man, when you and Brown would first talk about thrift lords and doing it on Instagram and potentially getting a shop, how do you feel now compared to then? And my exact words was, honestly, I felt this shit was cool from day one, and just y'all didn't know it was cool yet. So you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a thing of once it got to this point I was see, it was kind of
you had faith this whole time.
Yeah, I was just yo, it's this is some cool shit, and I'm not saying others don't have cool shit, but I just feel folks don't know it yet, but this shit is gonna be lit, you know what I'm saying? So absolutely.
Now, opening a shop is one thing, but gaining trust in the vintage world is another. What were some of the obstacles in the beginning that you had to overcome in order to turn this into a real destination? From just being in your head, like you said you always knew day one that this is a good idea. They ain't gonna do it the same way we gonna do it. But there's challenges and everything. So what were some of those challenges when you first had to get it off the ground?
Just really just learning basic business, because I said our whole, so then I guess a little backstory. So then at first it was me and my homeboy Brown that started shop, he moved to New York around 2021. I've been running it since. But then we're like still cool, so it's no like beef or like anything like that. But then like, you know, me and him, we were just like, man, bro, just like shit. Just think of some cool shit out of that. So then, yeah, that part was there, but we learned everything else about business was on a run. I mean, was on like the go. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, okay, let's get a LLC. Oh, this is okay. Oh shit, you gotta put a fucking security deposit down for the shop. I was just like, oh, you gotta do this. So it's like, okay, if we spend this amount, da da da. So it was really like we was literally learning on the go on how to run a business. You know what I'm saying? So shit, I feel like I like forgot the original question.
It was some of it's all good, but you were speaking on it like some of the obstacles, and I think that's basically what you were alluding to.
Yeah. That, and then I guess I really wouldn't even say it's a crossroad type of thing, but then also because I am very peculiar with what I want to pick up, and you know, there's folks like, oh, like, you shouldn't pick this up because this is not considered vintage, and it says Thrift Lords in your name, and this isn't da-da-da, woo. And, you know, no, like, disrespect to folks, but I'm just like, man, I don't give a fuck, like,
like doing your own thing, you have your own vision.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, like, I've definitely got, like, I've heard through, like, the, like, you know, what's the word? Like, I've heard through, like, the, you know, grapevines, like, yo, like, why would Thrift Lords post this? Because it's not considered this and this and that. I'm like, because I can do what I want to do. That's just how it goes, you know what I mean? So, yeah, definitely.
What's one feeling that you want a customer to have when they first walk into the store? Before they touch any rack, what's one feeling that you want to leave?
I want them to feel like this is a, you know, creative space where, yeah, we have clothes, yeah, we got a vibe, but like, I want folks to feel this is like a cozy, creative space where you can come from all like walks of life and find some fly shit. So it's like, yeah, like I know like I have pretty decent taste, but it's not like I'm like, yo, only the coolest of the cool folks can come. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if that's your lane and you're one of the flyers of the flyers and you're at the Met Gala and you do all the crazy dope shit, cool, come through. But if you're a person that just loves fucking, like, what's it called? Anime and, you know, this and that, boom. Or if you're a person that like punk like rock and you kind of want to keep to yourself, but like you still see some shit here. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So, like with me, I've always been big on, you know, I want people from all lanes to.
You want it to be inclusive.
Yeah, space. Because I feel that is like, you know, because I feel that is me in my personal life of, I know what I like, and like at the same time, I'm like very rooted in my roots, but at the same time I have a wide range of shit. It's like you know, one of my like, you know, favorite albums of all time is Thug, like, you know, Motivation 101, you know what I'm saying? It's like motherfucking but then like at the same time I listen to a lot of house music and techno, and that's like two like different worlds.
They don't really. When people like you hear that from people, they don't really. Them two worlds don't normally clash.
Yeah, because they really don't. But then at the same time, I genuinely like, literally, nigga, I know almost every track. I'm talking like, look, dog, like, you know what I'm saying? What's this verse? I'm like your favorite trapper's favorite trapper, and I run what's the joint? And I won, like, you know what I'm saying, Trapper of the Year 3 times in a row. What they get a lifetime of fucking blah, 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 da, da, da. But then it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know, like, I listen to Jeezy's Legs for the better or the worse, heavy. But then at the same time, I go to fucking underground techno clubs where niggas is got motherfucking just like the craziest fits on. So it's like
Jabberwocky shit, like I think if I'm being politically correct, shit like that.
So it's like, you know what I'm saying? I like all types of worlds as long as like, you know what I'm saying?
You can find your space in that lane. It's like, you know, I have a little bit to offer and appreciation for the space.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, if this store was a time machine, what era would people be walking into when they first walk in here?
If it was, let's see.
Like you said, you have a lot of different like eras. Like you're not really exclusive on like, oh, this is from the 90s or this is from the 80s or this is from early 2000s.
So then can I put like a time period?
Yeah. Okay, it's your answer. So there ain't no correct way to answer these.
I mean, I would say from like the late 90s to early 2010s would be like the time period if I had to, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think it's like only 90s or only Y2K or only 2010, you know, because there's a little bit of everything, you know what I mean?
So we're seeing a huge resurgence in Y2K and 90s fashion. Why do you think people are reconnecting with it now?
I just think that's just how history or just fashion or just trends go. It's just like, you know, every like 20 to 30 years or so things like just like, you know, they kind of I guess just go like in a cycle, but it's tweaked because then it's like because then honestly it's the same, because when you think of the 70s you like think of like the bell like bottom pants and all of that. When you think of the Y2K, what was most ladies wearing? Bell bottom pants. You know what I'm saying?
Flares.
Flares.
Pants,
now, what's the style? Like they may not be flared, but very loose boot cut pants now. So then it's like, you know what I'm saying? Every like 20 to 30 years, a lot of the styles just kind of come back, but like in its own way.
Yeah, you add like a little splash like of your own, you know, personality to it.
Definitely.
So one of my favorite things, obviously, I love tops. So what I got on, I love like Pele, I love Avrix jackets, I love starter jackets. Those are seen as fashion statements, but they're really more so, I believe, status symbols. What do pieces like that represent to you culturally when we look at that in that span?
What? So like, are you talking about like pieces like specifically like Pele or
like Pele starter jackets, like people that love tops and like the brands where it's like, oh, like you see a nigga with that on, you know the nigga got a little bit of money to him.
I don't know. I guess I have like a direct opinion or answer on that one. I don't know. I see it as like, people just like to get what they like to get, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't have, like, too much of a direct, I guess, thought on, like, if someone is wearing Pele and starter. But, I do know, at least now, it's like, okay, they did spend, like, a little bit of bread because, like, I do know, like, the prices be, like, hiked up, like, a little bit. So, I mean, like, I know, like, that part, but then, outside of that, I don't have, like, a direct
opinion. So maybe this might be a better question because this is my next one. How much do you think hip hop has influenced streetwear or urban wear and all that? How much is curated by guys like B.I.G. or Nas or Cameron, Jim Jones?
I think if anyone thinks otherwise, I think they're just trying to be delusional. I mean, it's like pretty clear because then with me, I've really gotten into fashion history, just like fashion history in general. If it's hip hop fashion, couture fashion, runway, like et cetera, and it's like, you know, it's like if it's from people like what's it called, Dapper Dan, which basically put on a lot of rappers to really have the type of vibe that we have, and then the rappers from the mid like 90s and the early 90s kind of put on the Camerons and everybody else, you know what I mean? So I definitely feel it's a direct impact, and I just feel it's like, you know, that's just kind of the thing that like now I just feel like folks will look kind of dumb to say that black people or hip hop isn't a direct like influence on just fashion and style and things that everyone wears, because it's like with the whole, because then I was watching this one fashion show, because then because then I've done 2 fashion shows, and I do some styling too.
Okay.
So then, like, I styled 2 like shows, but then I was just watching shows, trying to just gather some, I guess, a little bit of inspiration, and a little bit of just like, oh, okay, maybe I would want to use this, maybe I want to do that, whatever, blah blah blah. And in I think it was the spring and summer collection for like Chanel, for their 95, 96 show, they're all wearing big ass rapid chains, but the only difference is it says Chanel on it. So like now it's like it's considered high
class,
end. But then it was like fashion, when Run DMC was doing it, or when
urban street.
But then it's like when Run DMC did it, when LL Cool J did it, when Biggie Smalls is like, you know, considered as like, oh, that's streetwear, that's urban. But then when it got so popular, brands like Chanel was like, yo, it's like, if we like it or not, folks is buying this shit.
Streets
now
love it.
Like, So then now it's put on the runway and it's considered high-end couture. And how is that high-end couture where niggas in the hood was just wearing big chains, but since you put it on a model on a runway, it's now considered
skinny white person. It's like, okay, like,
So it's like, you know what I'm saying, to like, you know, to like say that black folks and hip-hop doesn't have like a pulse on what fashion is, or at least the absolute minimum is like,
it's an asinine claim to think that we don't have any recollection of like influence on it.